I want to start this video off a little bit differently. I want to play a scenario in your head. You've just been told you've got an exam coming up. You've got only 1 month to prepare. How do you feel? How does that make you feel? What are you thinking right now? If you're anything like me, you might already be worrying about that exam. Today, we're going to talk about worrying about the future. So we'll go through what you might feel, what causes you to worry, how that might affect other parts of your life, and what to do to combat it. So stay tuned and let's jump in it. So the definition for what you're feeling is called anticipatory anxiety. So Anxiety UK define it as an increased levels of anxiety thinking about an event or situation in the future. So it might not even be something that's coming up. It might just be something you're thinking about, whether that be a job, a partner, financial success, etc. Now, what might you feel when you're worrying about the future? There's two sides to the coin. So an article by Very Well Mind found that sometimes this worrying can actually be good. It can prepare you and motivate you for the future. On the other hand, if you're anything like me, you might be experiencing one of the following. So you might find yourself being unable to concentrate on everyday tasks. You also might find yourself experiencing some emotional numbness, some rumination where you constantly think about what the worry, and also some difficulty sleeping. The analogy I like of this is bleeding before you're cut. You worry before the actual event happens. So what causes anticipatory anxiety? Well, there's a couple of things at hand here. One, fear of failure. You fear you might fail that exam and it might go terribly wrong. Two, lack of control on a situation. You don't have a full control over that exam, what questions might come up and what your result might be, and so that might cause you to worry. Three, encountering a new situation. There might be brand new questions on that exam, things you haven't come across before, and so you worry because it's not something you're familiar with. Four, a previous bad experience. You may have had an exam go terribly wrong, and you're really worried about that. See, studies have shown that this worry is not just limited to that upcoming event, it can also affect other aspects of your life. A study by Gillian Butler on anticipatory anxiety and risk perception found that anticipatory anxiety not only increased subjective risk of examination failure, meaning you are more likely to think you'd fail the exam, but also increased in perceived risk of all self-referred negative events, whether or not they're related to examinations, meaning you are more likely to think you'd fail in other situations as well. On the other hand, worry can also end up hindering your performance. A study done by Matthew Kane on people who conduct bag searches with X-ray machines found that those who received a threat and causing anticipatory anxiety performed worse in detecting through a reduced accuracy of detecting a second target. This may be explained as a characteristic of a freezing response. In determining whether to fight or flight, you end up freezing when making that decision. However, this might end up with you avoiding the situation altogether. You freeze for so long that the fight or flight response is made for you. Now let's jump into the techniques to help you stop worrying about the future. A study by Eleanor Harwood found that self-compassion is very effective in reducing anticipatory anxiety. Now, self-compassion is split into three distinct parts. We'll go through each of them now. Firstly, self-kindness. That is treating yourself with kindness and care, not being overcritical about yourself or not beating yourself up too much about what's coming up. Secondly, common humanity, viewing yourself as part of the larger human experience, knowing that downfalls are a part of human life. You're not the only one going through this, and you won't be the last. You may also use your cultural and religious beliefs to put this in perspective, such as knowing that whatever God wills will happen. Thirdly, mindfulness. Understand that your mind is taking you to a place where you're potentially failing, which hasn't happened yet. Take in your surroundings, look at the present moment and know where you are right now. Now, the coping techniques with anticipatory anxiety are limited in their research, so I reached out to other people to see how they deal with their anticipatory anxiety. Here are a few techniques.
Hi, Ara. Thanks for coming on today. It being like a symptom versus a diagnosis. What's the difference between those people who have it as a symptom and like sort of a more temporary basis versus those people who have it as a diagnosis?
So the biggest difference would be that all of us generally face a sort of anticipation anxiety. The issue is it a situational thing or is it a long-term thing? Am I only nervous because I have something pressing coming up? Or am I consistently nervous even though there is nothing pressing coming up?
And what sort of techniques would you recommend for those people who have it more as a symptom on a temporary basis?
Something that is really great and very effective is the worry tree. So the idea is you take the thought, what am I worried about? And you break it down. And so, well, it's be worried about it, yes or no? No, I can't do anything about it, then let it go. Yes, I am worried about it, and yes, I can do something. What can I do right now? What is actually feasible? What is possible? And there's just sort of structuring that in that way. And you continue breaking it down until it gets to the point where either I sorted things out or I've come to a realization that I really can't sort much out anymore. Another thing that's really great is the worry time technique. It's great for if you're a procrastinator, because the whole idea is if a worry comes to you, you note it, you accept that you're worried about this, but then sort of put it in your pocket that I'll worry about it maybe, before I go to bed. And this helps us realize that sometimes with time, many worries go away. Those are two of my favorite ways to deal with this.
So there you go, guys. We've come to the end of the video. I really hope this helps. If there's anything I can do, please reach out. If not, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and tune in for more.